Welcome back to the Kang Gang Pod. We have a very special guest in the building today. You may have seen him on stage at your local comedy spot or outside the Kings Arena spiraling after a poor defensive effort from the team. He's proven that Sacramento doesn't just breed hoopers, but raises ridiculously funny comedians. Please welcome in the studio, Mr. Drew Absher, everyone.
Too generous. Entirely too generous. Thank you guys for having me.
Sometimes I can't read my own handwriting.
No, dude, that was a very nice intro. Comedy clubs usually just go like, your next comedian, you see him at, I don't know, here he is, Drew Absher. That's how I usually get brought up to stuff. So thank you, man.
Hey, well, I'll put them to shame real quick and give you the introduction that you deserve.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for being here again. We're very honored to have you. Johnny and I, we're coming off of maybe like a week after seeing the 30th birthday special, 30 minutes on the 30th birthday. It was at the Sacramento Comedy
Spot.
Comedy Spot.
Yes.
Yeah. We just have to
great venue, by the way.
Great venue.
First time there. You were awesome.
But better headliner.
Better
headliner. We got to get that out of the way. Yeah. Let's just start off with it. My favorite joke from your set, obviously, was the Kings joke where you were wearing a Kings shirt in a Safeway and a lady came up to you. Can you just take it away? Just let the audience know what happened in this story.
Yeah. I mean, I won't do the whole bit, but it was a real story. It was actually at Target, but I was just like getting ice cream late one night after an open mic, and I was in a Kings shirt, and a lady like came up to me and she was like, "Oh, I love the Kings," and then started talking basketball with me, and she was doing like that like thing that people do when they're Kings fans, but they just kind of remember a period of Kings time. So she was just like Mike Bibby and Jason, doing that whole thing. And I'm like, totally, I remember those guys too. And then like after a few minutes, she's like, "Do you play for the Kings?" And I was like, I'm like, "You're kidding with me, right?" Like I could not take her seriously. And then she's like, "I don't know, you just seem so knowledgeable." And I was like, "No, I don't." I'm like, I can't even run right now. Like I'm buying ice cream, Anyway, but I in the joke, I say like, that's how bad the Kings were. She saw me doing that and was like, maybe that could be the starting point guard for my hometown basketball team.
So it's like, it's not necessarily a compliment. It was more of a...
What if she was a scout? Like, what if she was an NBA scout undercover and she had a clock ready?
Well, it fucks up your confidence when someone tells you look like you could be an NBA player. You're like, really? Me? You're like, okay. I feel like the belle of this Target right now, dude. I felt like the sexiest guy in America at that time.
Did you have the sleeve at the
No, I was like, I was a spry young man. I was like 23, 24. Maybe she was trying to feel me up a little bit.
I think that's what
she was trying to butter me up a little bit.
I mean,
she was like 85 years old and senile, but I'd still do it. I don't care.
She watched a lot of Kyle Guy highlights and was like, "You're Kyle Guy."
That honestly, she may have just been influenced by seeing Jimmer. She was
that's
like,
also true.
Maybe that's just what every Kings player looks like.
Those could be two player comps for you right there.
That's
Kyle Guy or Jimmer.
Yeah.
If you get stopped in the street for looking like them, that's
Floor Kyle Guy ceiling Larry Bird. That's my draft. My scouting report.
God. Let's take a step back to your early comedy days. Like, what first brought you into the scene? Like, do you remember your first show, and who are like your comedic inspirations?
Yeah, I started comedy in Sacramento when I was 20. I was dating a girl who was going to Fresno State at the time. It was just a very stupid, just 20-year-old bullshit. And super sad. I was working a job that like I didn't realize until years later I hated, and I was like trying to find my way or whatever. And like I've always just liked comedy, and like I used to ditch school and like call my dad and like recite Comedy Central. I'd like watch Comedy Central. I'd pause it on like Comcast DVR and then like call my dad and be like, "You're never gonna believe what this guy just said." And my dad's like, "I'm at work. You're supposed to be sick," like. And I'd get in trouble for doing it, but I just like loved stand up, and so when I was like, fishing for something to do with my time, I was like, all right, I'll try an open mic, and it only took like. I only said I was going to do it once and didn't. And then after that, I like went up, had a bunch of friends come to my first open mic. It was a comedy spot. Jay and 20th, if you're in Sacramento, they run a lot of improv and stand-up shows there. Very good venue. I pressed something. No, I think we're good, probably.
I think we're good.
Levels are good on you guys' ears. Sorry.
Yeah.
Press something on the microphone.
Great.
So then I just I kept going. I just never stopped. It was like a weird... I don't know about you guys, but I grew up playing sports. So like creativity is like such a different beast than sports, because like in sports, it's win or lose, succeed or don't. And like there is a little bit of gray area, but like being creative in any way, shape or form was so foreign because it's all gray area. And like the idea of like doing well one night and then bombing the next night is so, it like jacks you up. So for the first couple years, I was really in the throes of like trying to understand like how to succeed in this, quote unquote. And then I kind of forgot where the question went from there. But yeah, that's like how I kind of started, was just like, just kept going and hitting open mics. And then like I started doing a roast battle before the roast battles were like super popular. I started running one, and it was really stupid, but it was called Hate Mile. And then the poster was me like photoshopped as Eminem.
That's hilarious.
And yeah, it was awesome. It was a good time. And then from there, I was just like, I was just off and moving, dude. I was like, I got to keep doing this. So yeah, that was kind of it, dude. Just once I had a concept for something, I was just like, oh, I can execute this and just keep going. So
who's your Mount Rushmore of stand-up comics that you grew inspiration from?
Oh man, that's such an interesting question. I mean, like the obvious ones that come to mind are like the trailblazer types, because like in comedy, like there would be no stand-up comedy without like George Carlin and Richard Pryor, but like they're not necessarily my favorite guys ever. I guess like top 4 all time: Bill Burr, Patrice O'Neal, Louis C.K., and I'll throw Jim Norton on there. I mean, those are like, it's so hard fishing. I just listened to a lot of Opie and Anthony. I don't know if you guys ever listen to Opie and Anthony, but that's where I love Jim Norton from. Old radio show.
That's a solid. That's a solid rock. That's a solid rock right there.
Yeah. If you haven't seen Patrice O'Neal and you're a stand-up comedy fan, go listen to Patrice O'Neal. You'll like him.
Oh, yeah.
So were those like in your early days you were listening to them, like before your 20s, before you started getting into it? Like, is that what you were watching as a kid? Or because I know a lot of people, they would watch like, you know, the stand-up specials that would come up on Comedy Central and stuff. Is that what you were kind of doing as a kid that got you first introduced to it?
Yeah, to a degree. Like I would kind of just throw whatever stand-up was on. I got obsessed as a kid. I got a copy of the Blue Collar Comedy Tour. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It was Jeff Foxworthy, Bill Engvall, Larry the Cable Guy, and Ron White. It was like Larry the Cable Guy's breakout thing, but it was like a special DVD. I got it at Walmart. My grandma bought me Blue Collar Comedy Tour. I watched it every single night. And then like I was like, it's so funny. Like as I'm saying all this stuff right now, I'm like, I can't even understand why stand-up wasn't the first thing on my brain as a like what I want to do with my life, you know, because I obviously loved it. But yeah, I remember like being in high school at like I'd be crashing at a homie's place and he's like, oh, let's watch a scary movie. I'm like, no, dude, let's watch this Bill Burr special that's on Netflix. And my friends are like, why do you want to watch this stuff? I'm like, it's fun, dude. We have a good time, you know? And so yeah, like I definitely was like a weird kid in that I was just always going for the bit. Like as a kid, I just was always like finding a way to perform. I'd like watch people be funny and be like, that's what being funny is. Let me go do that to other people. And then yeah, just never stopped. Just now awesome. I just annoy girlfriends and shit, you know? That's my whole life.
So you talked about bombing on stage. Can you talk about some of the early, I guess, bombs that you may have had and like the learning lessons that you kind of learned from it, or just your experience with, you know, getting on stage and doing this for the first time?
Yeah, I was kind of fortunate. So like I would bomb. I bombed a lot because of overconfidence. Like what would happen to me early on is I'm a really timid. I just like believe in my jokes. I'm not a very good performer. I'm a pretty timid performer. And so I'd like go and I would have like these like messed up jokes that are like, you know, they're shitty open mic jokes. Like they're not dangerous. Let me look in the camera. I've never said anything hateful or dangerous on stage, but they're just like shitty open micer jokes, you know, and I would bomb with them, but it would just be the joke bombing. Like it didn't feel personal because I wasn't like giving any of myself to the performance, you know? Excuse me. But what would kill me was like when I would finally build a little bit of confidence and then I would like go try to perform something and then that would bomb. And then like you'd be like in the middle of an impression or something and no one's laughing and you're like, well, I'm just doing an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression or whatever hacky shit I was doing, you know? But one of the worst ones, there was an open mic in Davis. It was at a place called Sophia's Thai Kitchen or Sophie's Thai Kitchen. It's like a popular spot in Davis. It's still like a very popular spot for music, but they would let comics go up. And so like you'd follow like a person playing cello, and you'd go up there and you'd be like, what's up with my fucking dad? You know? And like no one gave a shit. So like we'd like go hit that mic, and he would just bomb horrifically, and like that was kind of understood. But one time I just like went into the crowd and started like picking people out of the crowd who were ignoring me, being like, look at this guy, you know? And it started to work. And so the guy, like, he just kept going like this. When I'd look back to get the light, he would just keep saying like, keep going. Like there was no performers for the rest of the night or whatever. So he let me do 15 minutes, and I did like well, doing like kind of mean crowd work. And I was like, I'm going to be here every Wednesday. I know exactly what I'm doing for the rest of the Wednesdays of my life. Wow. And I went back the next week and immediately like get on stage with like so much confidence. And I'm just like, what's up with your fucking hat? And everyone's like, Jesus Christ, dude. And it bombed so bad. The host was like, don't ever do that again.
What year was that? Like how early on into the decade?
That was probably like 2015, 2016, so something like that. Okay. Two or three. Oh, like no, probably like 2017. Yeah.
Okay, like 2 years in. Mm-hmm. 2 years in, you're calling people out for what they're wearing. I love it.
Like, hey, you know what? Hey, dude. That's how comedians work. That's how they get you. They just find people and be like, because I got called out by a guy named Ward Anderson at like Laughs Unlimited with my dad one time, and I was like sitting next to these two chicks, and they're like, I know what you're doing later tonight. And I'm like, God damn it, man. And my dad could not stop cracking up. I'm like, hey, it's 2017. Love is love.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Hey, that's how they get you. They just pick out people in the audience, and then you're just like, oh, damn it. I'm now part of the joke.
Yeah. Well, there is a distinct difference too between like going at someone in the crowd. Like that guy's he was probably doing well, huh? When he did that, like, you know, like going in when you already kind of have him in the palm of your hand. But when they don't like you and you're going and being like, why aren't you listening to me, huh? You're trying to get pussy from that girl. She's not listening to you. And then the people in the crowd are like, hey, this guy's kind of funny. We should turn around. And you start to build a crowd, dude, your confidence just skyrockets. You're like
when you're on a heat check.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like when you're on a heat check.
Yeah, you're like, I could make it from 40 right now. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's exactly this. I mean, I've never been on a heat check. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm never pulling up from 35, but you know.
Well, hey, listen, if Jimmer can do it.
Yeah, that's true. I have the body.
Alhambra in shape tape. See if I can pull something.
You're talking about how, you know, going from a sports background as a kid, like trying to like find like your creativity. Now that you've been in it for so long, like what is your creative process?
I don't know. There's not like I think that like the worst, I don't do like a ton of shit, right? Like I do like comedy and I run like comedy shows, and then I like get creativity out through like video content that you like maybe have, you know, the King stuff I did or other ways. And I'm only now starting to venture out into like writing and directing little things and stuff, and it's nothing. Trust me, I'm not too busy. If Hollywood comes knocking, if someone's watching this and they're like, I need this guy to headline my club, but it sounds like he's doing movies, I'm not. But it's kind of like, for me, like ideas are just like there and then they're gone, you know? So it's really just about like putting myself in places where I can have good ideas. And like right now I'm doing like promotions at the Press Club, which is a music venue in Sacramento.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. You guys did you guys did Kingsmiss with us and stuff. But yeah, so I'm like doing stuff over there, and like a lot of my creativity is going over there, and it's the same like mental process as doing stand-up. It's just obviously a different result. But what it kind of comes down to is just like keeping my brain open to the idea of a joke coming in, you know, like, I don't know if you guys like have enough anxiety where you're like having shower arguments with people, you know what I mean? Like those kinds of moments, like there's usually something kind of funny implanted in there. And I just got kind of good at pulling out what was funny from those interactions. And now you can, every time I have a shower argument, I can just be like, my friend said this to me, and then I said this thing to him, you know? So like now those kinds of moments, I'm able to extract jokes from them. But it's not like I can't like sit down. I'm gonna smoke weed, play 2K, and listen to music, and like when a good idea hits me, like that's what we're writing down for today. So, yeah, that's kind of my creative process, is just keep chilling.
It's like also you get it from just like your daily life. Like in your 30-minute show, you took us from stories from you when you were younger to just a story at the grocery store. So it sounds like you just find natural inspiration from the people around you.
Yeah, definitely. I think that like that's always the kind of humor that hits me the hardest, is like the stuff that feels very like observational is like a word that like gets thrown around in comedy, but I like hypercritical, observational comedy. Like I don't just like a guy being like, I thought this was weird. Why do like a classic 90s like hack comic joke is like why don't they just make the whole plane out of the black box? You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit. Like I don't like observational stuff like that. I like why are things the way they are comedy. Like that's always been what draws me. And so yeah, like I just have like these little regular life occurrences. I worked at Trader Joe's for a long time. That's like good fodder for conversations, and you get a lot of jokes from just like people interacting, man. Yeah, people are stupid.
Especially in Sacramento, there's a lot of characters. Like,
yeah, definitely. I think everywhere.
There's a healthy amount of characters, healthy amount of crazy drivers. So those, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
cops.
everywhere. Yeah, bike cops. Yeah. Yeah.
Healthy amount of allergies as well.
Oh yeah, pollen, dude.
I'm scratching over here.
Unbelievable.
If you guys see me, there's gonna be flakes all over the mic screen when I'm done. I'm like, sorry about that.
Oh my gosh. So this past month, you've done how many shows? 17?
No, like not this month. I've like ran that post was I've like produced this Friday at Seasons Coffee. When's this coming out?
We should post it right before.
Oh, you don't have to. I want to make sure I get the plug right.
I know, May 23rd.
Yeah, May 23rd. If this comes out before May 23rd, Seasons Coffee. If not, sometime in June there will be another one. But yeah, I've just like ran a ton of comedy shows this year, like more shows than I've like ran before. Like this year alone, I've run 17. It'll be 18 at Seasons. So Wow. It's cool, man. Like I've never been this busy before. I enjoy it a lot, and I'm only doing stuff that's like actually fun for me and I'm having a good time with. So it's all kind of a new outlook on it, and so it's paying off. I'm enjoying it.
It's awesome.
You've done some very unique shows at different spots. You just talked about Seasons Coffee, you do at normal comedy spots, but you also did something at the Crocker Art Museum.
Yeah.
That is, I wish I was able to attend, but just the thought of two comedians taking you through a museum tour. Can you just talk about how that went? Like that just, I saw obviously the clips, but tell the audience and us what went into that event.
Yeah, no, it's a cool thing. So the program director over at the Crocker right now is like super, super down for comedy. And so that's actually they only started putting like video content out to promote it for this last one, but we've done 4 now. So yeah, it's really fun. So they invite me and Maria Musavi, who's another local comedian, awesome, very funny girl. She and I go to the museum, and then we like walk the new exhibit, whatever the newest one is. And we kind of just like take pictures, take videos, and then like we meet up and we like talk jokes, and we like try to come up with stuff. And then we'll take like bits and pieces from old tours now that we've done a couple. But then they do these things called art mixes on Thursdays. I forget which Thursday, maybe the first or whatever. But yeah, they do these things called art mixes, and there's like a ton of stuff happening at one time. So like we're the only ones in the museum. So if you come with us, we get like 50 to 70 people to just follow us around Crocker and just like go up to like nice fancy pieces of art and look at this piece of shit, and everyone's laughing, everyone's drunk. It's insane, but they're really cool and letting us do it. And like it's honestly like one of my favorite shows to do. It's so fun to like point at something someone else did and be like, fuck you, that sucks. I mean, we're obviously much more tactful than that, but that I'm not selling it well. We make jokes about the pieces and stuff, but it's a very fun experience. Usually they don't let comedians around art like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? They don't usually invite a peanut gallery inside. So yeah. It's cool. Yeah, it's a cool thing that they're doing.
Nice. That's so cool. It's just super unique. It's like,
I feel like it's two worlds colliding.
Yeah.
Almost. Yeah. Like
it's just not like your typical comedy show, It's like it's a whole experience. You're walking around.
You watch and you just see what your mind is like doing. It's like, oh, this is how can I make this like turn into something funny that like people be like, oh, dang, this is like also funny to them too.
Right. Yeah. And when you see a piece of art, everyone's eyes do something different. So like it kind of works in a really beautiful misdirection way, because like if you have a huge piece of art in front of you and you're looking at the top right corner, and I have this like incredible joke about something in the bottom left, like by the time your eyes get to it, the joke is already like processing as soon as you see it. So then like the laughs in there are just really big laughs, and it's a good time. Yeah, I enjoy it. And like all of those art mixes, if you guys don't go to, I mean, I'm sure everyone listening is like Sacramento based. If you're in Sacramento, go to the art mixes at Crocker. They're so fun. I think they're pretty, like $25, and you go in and there's like, sometimes there's dancers, sometimes there's people like live painting, and there's all kinds of shows and stuff happening. So they're doing something cool.
And they did something with the Kings recently too.
Yeah, they did like an entire, like a whole basketball night.
Yeah.
So the last one that we did, the one we were on most recently was all comedy. So there was like, I think they ran like 8 or 9 comedy shows in a single night. It was crazy. So I'm bragging about doing 18 or whatever. The Crockers got me doing like 8 in one night.
No, I think that's, I mean, yeah, like I said, I wish I was in attendance for that, but luckily, there's Instagram that has all your clips on there for everyone to watch. You've done so many different stand-up shows. One of my favorite comedy, I'll call it like a segment that you do is the plucking.
Yeah.
for everyone watching, Drew will go and is it a GoPro that you use, or?
Yeah, it's a GoPro.
He uses a GoPro and he walks around the streets of Sacramento picking up trash, but the way you edit the videos and the way is it a voiceover or?
Yeah, I'm doing voiceover
Dude,
on it.
So
It's so sick.
Oh, thank you.
That's
I appreciate it.
So good.
It's so funny. Like it's only hit with like, well, I'm trying to reconceptualize how I'm doing it, but whatever. It's besides the point. But it's like when it hits with people, they're like, these are really fun and like fun to watch or whatever. But it's like such a mundane, boring thing that even editing it, I'm like, oh my God, dude. And just watching me walk around with a little like grabber arm and pick up a piece of trash and hold it up to camera and then put it in a bag. When I'm recording, I'm having the time of my life, and then editing it, I'm like, this is suicide. I hate this.
You're like, oh, there's a banana. I gotta put that clip in there.
That's literally what like picking up trash has become for me, where I'm like, well, that doesn't shoot that well. I don't need to hold it up. But like if it's something's like colorful or looks cool, I'll like hold it up to the camera and show it. Or if it's something funny, I found some like crazy shit.
Okay, so tell me what was like the wildest one that you found?
Well, I mean, like,
or us.
You find like used condoms constantly.
Oh,
There's people are fucking
Sacramento, do better.
Constantly.
Do better.
I mean, at least the condoms there, right? Like,
Yeah, at least
the
they're safe.
evidence.
Right,
the evidence
yeah.
is kind of proof of doing better.
Yeah.
They certainly don't need to be. If you're doing it in the street, you could be doing it pretty risky.
I don't think a condom's gonna help you much.
Yeah. But I found like a tooth one time. That was weird. There was just a tooth on the sidewalk. It looked like a little kid's tooth, so it was probably like it fell out of their mom's pocket or something after the tooth fairy situation or something.
Debacle,
but it was just weird because you're like, do I call the police? Like, like what do
part
I
of a bigger
do?
story.
Yeah, what do I do when I find a tooth? Don't they have to identify this? I found like you find panties everywhere too. That's the only thing that like pisses me off is cigarette butts. That's like the only one I'd like do not like. I get like I was in the Safeway parking lot a couple of days ago, and there's just like a Plan B box out, and I'm like, I get that. Time is of the essence. You know what I mean? Like you don't have time to kill, but cigarette butts, I'm like, just throw it away, man. I don't get it.
Oh my God.
Have you ever dealt with a heckler on stage?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Is there a story that you want to share, or that kind of sticks out?
I mean, heckling is like a big umbrella term. So like, I'll tell you a good story. I mean, maybe it's not going to be, I don't know. But like heckling, when someone's heckling you and they're being like mean, aggressive, like trying to disrupt, it's actually really easy to deal with that situation comparatively because the crowd kind of also hates them. And so it's kind of easy to use their energy against them. They're usually drunk. They're usually about to say something stupid. And I also have the power of a microphone. So like, even if they don't say something stupid, I can just say they said something stupid back into the mic and everyone else in the room is going to believe what I said, Yeah. So that's almost a better situation than the alternative, which is like someone in the crowd is supportive, but being disruptive. Because that kills you. It steps all over your timing and everything. And excuse me, sparkling water, dude, gets me every fucking time. I'm like the kid from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. But yeah, like when people are being like supportive and disruptive, that's like way worse because like you can't be like, hey, shut the fuck up. You know, like it doesn't work because the rest of the crowd's like, she's just clapping after everything you say because the rest of the crowd doesn't understand how distracting it is. So we had this like lady who like, she's, you know, not all the marbles aren't all the way there, but she like pops up and she tries to do stand-up comedy every couple years. And she like, when she doesn't get on the open mic list, she'll sit front row and laugh like incredibly loud during your set, and actually
sabotage or something.
Yeah, like basically trying to sabotage. Yeah,
so fucked up.
Yeah, totally. And actually, that show that you guys came to like last week, I had gotten into it with her on stage. Oh shit. Like the Tuesday before that Friday, like the Tuesday before my birthday. Because like, there's only so much you can deal with, you know. And then I like go up there and I'm like, can you please stop? You know,
like what will she do? Like she'll just laugh like crazy loud,
yeah,
or she'll
like
say something, or like
yeah, like when you're not supposed to laugh, or even when you're supposed to laugh. Like if all your laugh is making everyone else around you go like, Jesus Christ, dude, that's so loud. Then like you're being disruptive because the laughs aren't rolling, and then it's hard to build the momentum. But it was great because like I've interacted with this lady a bunch, you know, and all I asked for her to do is move somewhere else. Like if you have this crazy laugh and you like swear up and down it's like natural or whatever, that's fine, but you just can't sit at the front row of a comedy club. That's crazy. That's like being like, I have to have my flashlight on and I have to like stand at the front row of a concert and just hold it in the lead singer's face. It's crazy. So like I asked her to move or whatever, and a guy in the crowd behind her is like, she's making us laugh more than you are. And then I'm like, shit like that rolls right off my back. I'm like, for sure, man, you're going to be sitting there for 2 hours. Let's check back in, you know? And then like at the end of the show, the guy's just like, looks so miserable. And I'm like, yeah, dude, don't argue with me. Take my side. If there's ever a comedian spazzing out on stage, Drew, take their side. Yeah, they're right. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But hecklers like in the kind of classical sense are fewer and further between now. Mm-hmm. I think the internet and the awareness that like any comedian can kind of floor a heckler, like maybe the same way like jiu-jitsu has like stopped street fights or something like that, you know. Now every motherfucker can be like Hoist Gracie or something, and you have no idea.
Cobra Kai.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
everyone's
right,
a karate expert now,
yes.
so anyone can whoop your ass. So it's the same thing I think with hecklers and comedians. Yeah.
So with speaking off the crowd, how often do you implement crowd work into your sets, or does it just happen naturally, or like do you have any funny stories of where you're the one maybe initiating a conversation with someone in the crowd?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I try not to do it. Like how I was kind of saying earlier, like about being a timid performer. Like I still kind of hold that, and I like writing jokes. And so like when you guys saw me do 30 or whatever, like I want to do all of those jokes. I had to cut jokes for that set, you know, so I want to do my jokes. I don't really have that much, no offense to any audience members out there, I don't really care that much about your life, you know. I'd rather, I wrote these jokes, I want to tell them, you know. And God, my nose is crazy right now, dude. These allergies are so bad. I'm sorry, guys. I feel so gross. I just keep touching my nose in front of you guys. Yeah, so I try not to go into the crowd very often. It's mostly like in times of desperation, or I'll build in crowd work. So like if I ask a question in the crowd, I usually have a reply for however it goes. I'm also good enough off my feet to like handle myself, so I'm not really afraid of it. But yeah, it usually like works its way in. I had a good, it's not like crowd work necessarily, but I did a show last Friday in Isleton, California. A very cool show at a Maywa brewery or brew house or tap house. It's an old opium den on the Delta, dude. God. It's crazy. It's like an 1800s opium den. It's wild. And anyway, I was in there, and the bathroom is behind where the performer is. So like anytime someone has to go pee, there's just a person all of a sudden walking right at you. And that's intimidating in any situation, you know, like someone walking right at you intently. You're like, oh, fuck, dude, let me get out of your way.
It's like a Will Smith situation.
Right. So you guys, I think, saw the joke, but I'm doing a joke about being a child, a boy with mommy issues. And that joke, the punchline of that, or one of the lines in that joke is, as I say, suck the skin off of it in reference to a blowjob. It's not the most tasteful joke I've ever written. I'm sorry. But as I'm doing the setup of the joke, I don't know, maybe 8-year-old girl walks at me. And I'm going like, I know what joke is coming next. Like, please stay in, like, please take the worst dump of your life, little girl. You know what I mean? Like, please give me 15 minutes before you get out of this bathroom. Because none of the new, and dude, like, sure as shit, I hear the door open as I'm setting up, suck the skin off. And like, as I say, suck the skin off, she's just right next to me. And it, of course, bombs because everyone's like, what the fuck? And then I'm like, that works better if there's not a little child right next to me as I'm delivering it.
Did you say that? Like, did you
Yeah,
acknowledge
it like did way good. And then like, because the bike, I have a joke about bike cops too. I had done that joke earlier.
Love that joke.
Yeah.
Favorite one.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. But that joke, like, I ask like, do they have bike cops? And they're like, we don't have cops. In Isleton, there's like no police department. And so then like after that, I was like, that may have been a felony what I just did, but you guys don't have cops, so no one will find out.
Wow.
And then, yeah, dude, it was nice. It was
The
a little
improv
full
always
circle
saves.
callback moment. It was nice.
I love that.
Yeah,
Is that
when
what
it
you
works.
call it? A callback moment? Is that?
Yeah, like anytime you reference something that happened earlier in a show or a set, yeah, it's like called the call.
I don't want to give anything away if you haven't seen Drew live, but your callback moment for the 30-minute show, so good.
Oh, well,
And Johnny missed it. He went to the bathroom.
The one, really?
Well, you probably heard it still, but
is it
so
at the
good.
end of the set?
It was the last
yeah.
thing you said.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I
so
appreciate
good.
it.
I was ready for the standing O, and then Johnny walks out.
I was holding my pee in the whole
I
time.
know.
I was like, when's the perfect time to go? And of course, I go with the
During everyone else's set, that's the time to go, dude.
Yeah, that's
Never
that.
miss
Oh
a
yeah,
Drew
that's how you do
Absher
it.
beer. The root beer was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Jones root beer.
Alcoholic
It was.
Joe.
That's what we're
Oh,
talking
wait, did you
That was
get?
the alcoholic one.
Oh, the not your father's root beer.
about. Your father's. That's
That
good.
was-
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, another full circle moment. That was my first open mic. I only had one drink. I had an Angry Orchards hard cider when I was 20 years old, and then my second drink ever was a Not Your Father's root beer in front of the Sacramento Comedy Spot before my first open mic.
Oh, that's
What?
awesome.
Full
Chugged
circle.
a hard root beer. That's show business, baby.
Show
Just like Motley Crue in the 80s.
Yeah. That's just gonna be your new routine now. It's just like chugging those
Oh, yeah,
beers
that's-
and be like, all right, I'm ready to go. I'm jacked up.
It did look like the first scene in an alcoholic's biopic for sure. Me just crushing booze in my car alone. Yeah.
Wait, Drew, can we have you scoot in a little bit?
Oh, yeah,
I just
I'm
noticed
sorry.
that you're crawling out.
Sorry,
Uh,
I'll lean in.
You mentioned it earlier about the videos that you make online during the 2022-2023 season. Everyone's favorite King season as of late.
Mm-hmm.
You took the world by storm. Those videos, I got those sent to me by every like non-Kings fan that I know, or that knows that I'm a Kings fan. They were like, it reached like some deep levels, and I'm like, I know who that is. Like, I know who that is, and just talk about how you did those collaborations with the Midtown Boys, and how you first started doing those videos outside the arena, and how some of them did very, very well.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was a really cool experience for me. I don't have any like sageness or anything like that, but if you're thinking about doing something, just say yes to everything. Like, and that's kind of the only moral of the my whatever rise to little like King's internet fame for a minute there. Like, whatever, if you could draw something from it, it would just be like, I basically during the pandemic was like, no comedy. So what do I do? So me and another comedian who also has nice cameras and is a good editor and filmographer, we went and we did like little videos around town, just like filmed us like kind of interviewing people. It was really low concept. And then the Midtown t-shirt guys, Darren and Derek, saw those, and they were, they had reached out at the time. They sent me a shirt. They were like, we like these. And I was like, cool. I didn't really think anything of it. And then come like March, they hit me up and they're like, can we jump on a Zoom meeting? We have an idea. We want to pitch you. And I was like, yeah, for sure. And they were like, we saw those videos you did. We were thinking it would be cool to do. The original inspiration was kind of the side talk videos, the Nick stuff.
New York.
Yeah, and
So
we
good.
captured some of that stuff, I think, in the video a little bit. The truth is Sacramento's just less rambunctious than New York is, so it doesn't have the same effect. But, yeah, we were like, well, let's just go do this. And we did one for the last game of the season that year was against the Warriors at home. And so we went out for it, and I don't remember at the time if we knew they were our first round matchup.
Yeah, we didn't know.
We didn't know, right?
We didn't know until the last game of the season.
Right, that's right. And that was an away game. So, like, at this point, it was like maybe they were going to be.
It was either them, the Clippers, or the Wolves, I think. Those were, like, the three.
Yeah, we were, like, waiting to find out, and then it came out. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, the energy down there was kind of like, you know, we were there, dude. Like, everything was kind of in place. This was after that Portland game, so like we knew that it was like locked in and everything, and so the energy was good. And we had a couple of videos from there. There was one where we were like interviewing. I kind of feel it's the only one I kind of feel bad about that did numbers. Is like we interviewed a Warriors fan who was just hammered. We like should not have been talking to this guy. And he didn't know where Chase Center was or something. Like he didn't.
That guy.
I forget exactly what it was, but yeah, he just like he totally fucked up, and his friends like totally left him hanging. It was pretty mean, but it did numbers the next day. And then like after that, we had like concept, and we had reason to keep going. And it's a weird thing. Like I think we did a video each game, so we did at least 7, but I think we in total did like maybe 10. And it was cool figuring out like which format worked. Like, how do people want this Kings content delivered to them? And it turns out the best ones are the ones where I'm sad as shit.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah.
You're blaming everything on Kevin Herter. Those are my favorite.
Yeah.
So funny.
I guess I didn't realize how much people liked the misery, you know, but I guess that is like kind of Kings fans in a nutshell to a degree, you know?
Literally. Like the way that you're probably like 50 feet away from the camera and you're just sitting there talking out loud, and it's so funny.
Yeah, shout out my guy Cisco Cole. We're supposed to meet today to talk about more stuff we're gonna do, but we're gonna start jumping into some videos again. But Cisco, he's just so good at editing me, and he's so good with ideas, and like I'll throw him something and he's like, here's how we're gonna shoot it, and it just comes out so good. So yeah, I love working with Cisco, love the Midtown guys, still very good friends to this day and everything.
Do you have any other like favorite moments from that stretch of time when you were making these videos?
Well, I mean, getting to go to Media Day with the Kings is like crazy. It was so cool. I mean, that is like my only like. I don't mean to brag, but I had a clip do well, and Sharon Stone sent me a DM. I don't know if you guys know Sharon Stone, any movie buffs out there. She's an Oscar-nominated actress. She was in Basic Instinct and Casino, were like 2 huge movies with her. But yeah, she like sent me a DM and said, "You're funny," and I was like, "Nice, like this is awesome." Dude. I was like, life can't get better. And then, yeah, like one day I was at Sac State, Stingers up, baby, and I'm graduated now, alumnus. And
it's a special stinger right there.
Yeah,
it's a special stinger.
I was like just not paying attention in some history class or something, and I like check my phone, and there's a DM that's from the Sacramento Kings, and it says the only thing I can see is "Hey Drew," comma.
Oh,
which is like
yes.
when you get that, you're first thinking like, oh, they probably saw my tweets, you know. They're gonna ask me to not say that about Matina publicly or something like that.
Am I banned from every game coming up?
Yeah, I'm ixnayed like Charles Oakley at the Garden. 86. No,
like,
and
leave Vivek's name out of every
yeah, you did exactly. But no, like it felt like I honestly like checked. I had to go and make sure it was the Kings, because like it's. That would be like my Nigerian Prince scam. You know what I mean? Like if that was
send us $500,
if that was a DM that was like, we're $200,000 short of signing Al Horford, can you wire us the money? I would be like, you got it, Vivek. I wouldn't think twice.
Say less.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Sign Al Horford.
He would sign Hal Horford.
Yeah.
Ask people
that would have been awesome. I would have totally went in on that. But yeah, like. Once I did it, they were like, we liked the stuff you did, and we want you to come to Media Day. And so, yeah, shout out Kenny from King Social Media. Kenny rules. He like worked with me. We had a ton of rounds of edits. The Kings they're very protective about what they'll let you say. I get it. They have 2 million followers. I have 6,000 or something. They got a lot more to lose than I do. But yeah, we ended up doing like a kind of would you rather choose your own adventure bit with like all the Kings players, and it was really fucking cool. It was we were busy. It was like hurry up and wait type stuff. Media day's hectic. Have you guys done anything at media day?
No.
Can you
Hopefully one day. Hopefully one day.
Can you take us through like what media day was for you as like somebody that was just fresh, seeing what media day looks like? What was kind of the whole spiel about what's happening? What were things that you say and can't say?
Oh yeah. So, well, some of the stuff I can't say is like, it is like so innocuous. I want to be clear that like the Kings are just covering their ass, you know? It did kind of like, it's funny though, like if you've seen any of the stuff I did independently and then like to bring me in, and then like one of the things, so it was a choose your own adventure. So the loose concept was the NBA scripted, but this year they want the players to have more empowerment. You know, it's like KD's at this. KD had just went to the Sun, so I was like, I will say KD's a Sun now, so the player empowerment movement's still booming or something like that, right? And so then I gave them two options, and it would be like, you average 12 points a night, but you can only make left-handed layups, or you the Kings win the championship, but you have to shave your head for the whole season, right? It would be like two things like that. And like with Chris Duarte,
that one didn't make the cut, right?
No,
or did it? Okay,
no.
yeah. What happened?
The Kings were stingy on the Chris Duarte footage. No, most of the stuff that never came out was simply because like, who wants to watch me? I mean, no offense, but like, who wants to watch me talk to Jordan Ford? You know what I mean? Or like Colby Jones. It's just like not gonna do well on socials. I get it, but we had to do one for every single player. And God, it wasn't Chris Duarte. Now that I'm thinking about it, it was someone else. It was someone, I can't pull the name, but if we had that roster in front of me, I'd remember. But it was someone like who was going to be like a G League player, and the question was basically like, would you want to do this, or you like something great happens, like you end up starting a playoff game, but you're the leading candidate, or you're the leading appearance on Shacked and a Fool this year. And I was like, that's a good one. Like that's gonna hit basketball fans pretty hard. And they came back and they were like, actually, JaVale McGee has beef with Shaq, so we can't say Shacked and a Fool. But I wasn't even talking to JaVale McGee.
That's wild.
Isn't that weird? Yeah, that was like the one.
Oh, because you said Shacked and it would maybe trigger JaVale, maybe.
Yeah, but I'm like,
wow.
I'm like, okay, I want to be clear. This is like Kings PR people talking, and PR is all about language. But I'm like, how insulting to JaVale McGee that he would like get like personally offended that I said Shacked and a Fool.
Yeah,
like,
that's got to be a request from him for sure.
I disagree. I think it's like a request. Like they are just being overly cautious because
like we just got this guy. We don't want to ruffle any feathers.
like a 17-year veteran. There's no way Shaq is that rent free in his head, right? You know, like
they do have a beef history.
At a point in time, like after he lost that dunk contest or something like that could have set him off. I think. But I'm like, there's no way JaVale McGee cares about me. He knows Shacked and a Fool is a thing. I'm not saying it to him. Or another one was I asked Davion Mitchell, yada, 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 same kind of setup. But the last thing was like, good thing happens or good thing happens and you lead the league in getting your ankles broken. And they were like, can't say that. And I was like, why? And they're like, it's talking about an injury to a player. And I'm like, breaking ankles? Everyone knows what breaking ankles is.
That's a street ball term.
It's a street ball term, dude. Yeah. An alley-oop is not a thing if that's not a thing. You know what I mean? Like, it was little things like that where the edits, I could even tell when the edits would come back to me. It was like, this one, I know, man. Just write something else, you know? And we all, I think I kind of had a consciousness that, like, it probably wasn't going to get in, that I was talking to, like, you know, I don't know who was on the team at that time, but I'm trying to pull a name. It was like,
hey, ask him. He'll know everyone from the roster.
Who was down. Like
2022, 2023,
23, 24.
Yeah.
Well, 23, 24. Oh gosh, I don't know the bottom guys though. I'll go through it right now. So
run back.
Yeah, I'll do it. So Fox, Sabonis, Herter, Monk.
Keegan made the video.
Yeah,
Keegan's in the vid.
Alex Len.
HB,
yeah. Colby Jones.
Mm-hmm. Who was our two-way players? It was Colby and Jordan Ford, right?
Jordan Ford was another one. But there was another...
Duarte.
There was like...
Keon was there.
Keon was there, right?
No, I didn't talk to Keon that year. I don't think he was up at Media Day. I don't think he was like on a two-way yet, or maybe just a G League contract. I forget. I didn't talk to Keon though.
Well, maybe
I did.
Trey Lyles was there.
Yeah, Trey Lyles.
Yeah, there was someone who was like a guard. and I can't. I here's what I remember about Chris Duarte.
Yeah. Let it out.
So sweet. It's such a nice story because like when I'm standing there, all I can think to myself is like, holy fuck. Because not only are your favorite players right there, but Mark Jones is walking past you. You know what I mean? Like Mark Jones he's an ESPN broadcaster. Like
we love Mark Jones. We'll tell you something after.
Okay, sick. Yeah. Or like across the gym, like Zach Harper from The Athletic is like doing a podcast. So like you're kind of like aware that you're on a happening that is related. Like they're doing NBA, the NBA Players Union is set up next to us. They're doing like headshots for the Players Union pictures.
Yeah, like the actual photos that are going to be used all season are being taken.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So you're kind of just like conscious of that energy, right? And like you feel, I mean, if you have imposter syndrome, which if you're good, you probably should, like that was like running through my veins. And we asked Chris Duarte, Cisco, he's like, hey, can we get Chris? And they're like, what are you doing? We're like, it's just like a joke kind of thing. And Chris Duarte is Puerto Rican, and he's from the island of Puerto Rico, and so his English is not very good. So he had a translator with him, and the translator goes and tells him, and he like comes up, and the translator's telling us no, and Chris Duarte like comes up, and he's like, I'm not funny. I'm like, that's all good, dude. I don't play basketball. Like, I'll bring the funny. Don't worry. And he was awesome. He was really good play along guy. But yeah, I love that. He's like,
I've heard great things about Duarte. I've heard he's like the nicest guy ever. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, he was a sweetheart. He was a really good dude. Yeah.
Yeah. You were talking about kind of like the nerves. Like, was the nerves different talking to the these NBA players versus being on stage? Like, was it kind of a different energy?
Yeah.
Or?
Well, I guess I was like, I have a big fear that I'm just going to say the wrong thing. You know what I mean? And like with my brain, it's usually like an offensive thing, you know? And that's not all. Yeah, it's fun for comedy, but it's like not always good in professional settings, you know? And so like all I kind of have on me is like Kenny from King Social Media. I'm like kind of like, I hope I don't fuck Kenny out of a job right now. I think he kind of co-signed me on this. But there was another group of dudes who were with us who were like really unprofessional. So me and Cisco were just like, we'll keep our heads low here. And like they were like asking for pictures and autographs and stuff. It was kind of crazy. So once that stuff started to kind of happen, my nerves like really went down. And the day just drags on so long. HB was the first guy to come out, ruled. He was so cool. And he was like the only guy to like do bits back with me. Like he was like giving it back a little bit. Malik refused to play along, which is fun. I get it. That's like that's in and of itself a bit. But HB was like the only guy who was like trying to have banter. And so he kind of eased my nerves immediately. Once I got HB, once I knew we had like one good one, I was like, all right, this will be all right. We'll be okay.
I love that. So kind of to transition, like what one Kings player could you see as a stand-up comic one day?
I mean, Malik is funny. Like he's like a legit funny dude. He like, we're like sitting there and like I said, we're right next to the Players Union. So like, I don't know why everyone wanted to do the Players Union stuff first. Maybe it's like they had to do like little interviews and then like get their pictures taken. And so Malik like runs across the gym over there. And each person's got a handler with them. That's an important bit of information. Every Kings player has like if you go to Disneyland, how the mascots have a person walking with them. They have that, which it's funny because they're walking Alex Len around like he's a freak show. You know what I mean? Like they have this 7-footer on a chain, and they're like, "Who wants to talk to the giant?" You know, that's kind of the vibe it gives off. God. And so Malik like runs across the gym, and like, yeah, Kevin Huerter was like in the NBA players thing. And then he's like, I'm doing the Players Union. They're like, Kevin Huerter's in there. And he's all, man, fuck Kevin. He just like yells that as loud as possible in the gym. And you're like, oh, he doesn't care about anything. He's like totally dicking around. And then like he got legit mad at King Social Media it was like a putt thing. And,
I remember that.
And they had like a loaded golf ball or something. Did they post the Malik?
I think they posted it.
Malik getting mad. Malik like was for real. Like, I'm not doing any of your guys' stuff anymore. He blew
I can't remember if they posted his, but I do remember the golf segment.
They had like a little ping pong thing, and Malik refused to do it because he was like, "Man, you guys are trying to make me look stupid. I'm not doing this shit."
Oh my god!
I liked his energy. It's
very honest, like energy.
Yeah, he seemed like, and I'm not nothing against the great JaVale McGee, NBA champion, but dude's been in the league for like 17 years. He doesn't want to talk to some jamoke with a microphone. You know what I mean?
17 NBA media days.
He's
he's seen it before.
He's been doing media days since like LeBron. You know what I mean? Like since LeBron was in like year 3.
He's seen the movie before.
Yeah, right.
He's done the part. So it sounds like media day. It's like the players just go into the open arena, and then you guys are just all like staggered around, and then it's like, oh, you and Cisco are like, okay, well, let's go and try and talk to him. Or so they don't really help you get to the players. It's more like you guys have to make the effort to get the content you want.
Yeah, it's a little column A, column B. So yeah, I'll answer the question from RT over there. Is like we met at the lobby of the Sawyer, and then they like take you underneath the Sawyer. I guess it's probably public knowledge. There's like a little tunnel underneath that you go through, and then you end up in Golden One Center. And they take you down to the practice facility. It was awesome. Like, even as a Kings fan, just walking in Golden One Center while it's empty, you're like, this is crazy. And they take you down below to the practice facility, and they set you up almost like flea market style. So you're like in a booth, you know? And because me and Cisco were basically just handheld, he was just on a camera and I just had a microphone. Like, we didn't need to be set up at a station, but we just kind of hung around King's social media because we're like, they got to do King's social media. They might not go do whatever that fucking flavor blasted goldfish guy wants or whatever. Who knows what other people were in there. There's like all kinds of people like, you know, giving out like swag and shit. It's weird because there's people who are like 2K. They don't, you have no obligation to go do the 2K like motion graphic thing, you know, and they probably only want certain people. But De'Aaron Fox could tell them like, no, I've been doing this for 3 hours, man. You're not gonna put the little buttons on me and make me do
all that there.
I don't know.
They do it.
2K had like a huge. I hope it's 2K. I hope I'm not getting it wrong. But it was like a huge like inflatable like. It definitely, they were doing like CGI stuff.
Yeah, like the CGI
motion
where they like capture like the motion of like a person dribbling or shooting, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, they were definitely doing something like that.
It was 2K, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was that, like if they were doing it for some other reason, you know, sometimes they do like animation stuff. I have no idea. But yeah, people were saying no to certain stuff for sure. And so we just hung around King Social, and then like once they'd get done there, we'd be like, hey, can we just get you for a quick little thing? And I'd have like the paper ready to go, and we'd just like boom, knock it out. So that's why like some of the footage, like it starts late because like Cisco's like fucking the
camera. Happening.
Yeah. So but yeah, that was it. And then we kind of just hung around. Like we were there from like 11 to 4:30, something like that.
Not bad.
Dude,
that's amount of hours.
No
that's
food.
That's a long time.
No food, no water breaks. Like, I didn't go to the
snap.
bathroom the entire time.
Yeah, because you can't leave because you're like, I can't miss the opportunity.
Right, and Fox is last. Sabonis is second to last. So you're just there. Like, you know the prized possession is coming out soon. And you're just at there. And he's like, you see Fox talking to Zach Harper, and you're like, fuck you, Zach Harper.
You're like, hurry up,
For
Zach.
multiple reasons, I fucking hate you right now, you know? I don't like Zach Harper. I'll start that beef on this podcast. Fuck you, Zach Harper. You're not welcome back in your hometown, boy. Don't come back here.
Zach Harper.
Yeah.
Zach, we might have to have a little conversation.
I won't even speak to him. I won't even dignify him by speaking to him.
Dang.
He'll call him Z.
I just hate a guy who's from Sacramento who leaves and like roots against the Kings pretty active.
Yeah. I actually don't know too much about Zach Harper.
Oh,
I don't know either.
God bless your heart, dude.
Yeah,
I hate him now.
Yeah, he's
Well, now, I mean, if he does what you're saying.
he's like if Jason Jones was from inside Sacramento. You know what I mean? Like, what's your problem, dude? Like, what the fuck? Why are you rooting for the Lakers so hard? It's crazy.
Wow. Man, you put it like that.
Oh yeah, he's a homer and he should be fired. That's why. I'm joking. He shouldn't lose his job. I just have issues with him professionally.
So you're telling me you were at Media Day for 5.5 hours. You got to talk to almost every single Kings player.
Yeah.
You got great footage out of it. They only used 3 players for the bit, I think 3 or 4.
I think they ended up like splitting up where it got distributed. So like I did a Kevin Herter one that ended up on YouTube, like YouTube Reels. They were just inconsistent about where it was getting posted and stuff. And yeah, it was sorry, go ahead, finish the question.
What I was going to lead into is there wasn't not all the footage is out there. Do you think one day you might be able to release it to the world?
I think Cisco probably still has it because we shot it and then we uploaded it. So like we did a little smash cut version. I don't know if that ever went up on Instagram, but yeah, we did like a little smash cut thing. Yeah, I could probably ask Cisco about getting the footage.
Does the Kings need to approve it first, or do you think you guys got? I
think the statute of limitations on that. What are they going to? They're going to be mad about something. I mean, it's a whole new front office at this point. It's like we got like one of the same players probably. It's
Dude,
like that.
Right.
It's that question about like the old ship.
Oh yeah.
If you replace every part, is it the same ship?
That's true.
That's a good point. Dude, I'd love to see it. Even if he doesn't go out to the public. Maybe you could send me the PDF. Zip file.
Truth of the matter is there probably wasn't too much gold that got left out. I mean, getting Sabonis and Fox, like those are the only guys who were like trying to have. They were the only ones who knew it was for sure going up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so they're like, oh, if I'm in
like they had to play up for camera. Everyone else was kind of just like, Davion Mitchell was like, can we get this over with, man?
He just wants to be in the lab. He just wants to get shots out.
Dude, he's so intense. He was the most intense guy I spoke to.
He's the only one that's actually getting some shots up while everyone else is taking all the photos.
He is heat culture. He belongs in Miami.
He really does.
So let's get into the fun Sacramento Kings related questions.
Oh yeah.
But before that, I have one more comedy related question. If you were to go headline or co-headline a tour with one comedian, who would it be?
Oh man. Wait, do you mean like in terms of like someone I just want to hang out with? Like if I could open for some or co-headline?
Or start with open.
Okay. Yeah.
And then build your way into the co-headliner.
Yeah, I mean, like the guys that I really enjoy today. What's nice about comedy is it's pretty small, so I'm not actually like that far away from like actually opening for these people, and I've met quite a few of them. But like I really enjoy like Dan Soder is a big name I enjoy. Sam Morril, who's a giant Knicks fan, he's like a pretty big like Knicks comedian fan now. He like gets thrown up on the jumbotron at Madison Square Garden.
Okay, that's a big deal. If you're there,
dude, he's a big deal. He's like headline Madison Square Garden, but like I've hooped with him at McKinley Park twice. Yeah,
he's from here.
No, he's a New York guy. But when he comes to Punchline, like when he was smaller for a long time, obviously. When he was on the come up, we'd like go out to Punchline and we'd just hang out and talk to him after, and we're like, dude, we're gonna be balling tomorrow at McKinley Park. He's like, fuck yeah, I'll come out, and he would just come hoop with us.
McKinley Park runs.
Yeah, we know all about that.
Local McKinley Park resident.
Hell yeah, there we go. Yeah, so those two guys like come into mind as like guys I would definitely love to work with today. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Has there ever been any conversations about? Have you ever like tried reaching out to try and hop on a tour one day?
I mean, it doesn't like comedy is weird. It is very small, so like people feel very accessible, but it's also like everyone who's like slightly above me or even like distant above me is still like really far from the top of this, so a lot of people are really self-focused and kind of paying attention to only themselves. So I could probably hit up some people I've met who are like famous enough to be like headlining their own stuff, but like there wouldn't be money. So I would just have to pay for myself to like fly to, Topeka, Kansas or something to stay at a Radisson Inn. And, it's like, I think I'd rather just stay in Sacramento at that point, but like, of course, like if anyone ever hit me up, I'd be like so down. Yeah.
That would be crazy. That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
You'd probably have like kick-ass stories though if you went to Topeka, Kansas and be like, hey, dude, there was this tornado warning, and I was like, yeah, you get like
yes,
crazy.
Dude. I could probably, that would probably be a good time actually. If anyone in Topeka is booking shows, I'd love to come down.
That's the market you need to hit. I know you got Sacramento in the palm of your feet.
Yeah, maybe there's some like lingering Kansas City Kings fans who are like,
and then you're just
they're like, I know a guy in Topeka who books something. He books the Chuckle Hut.
It's kind of let's cave.
We should get like a flight going back between here and Kansas City of Kings fans and just rotate them in and out, dude. That's how we do it. Yeah, that's how we get more people in Sacramento.
Oh my God. Okay, on the topic of Sacramento, we're obviously a Kings podcast, so we have a lot of Kings things that we want to ask you.
Yeah.
Because we all know you're a huge Sacramento Kings fan.
Yeah.
You've been able to do some awesome stuff with the Kings, but now it's time to get your feelings on everything. So my question for you is, with everything that's going on, I know this is more of an NBA related question.
Yeah.
The draft lottery just happened. What are your biggest NBA or Sacramento Kings conspiracy theories?
Oh, I mean, like everyone knows the conspiracy theory. Like, I mean, the 2002 Western Conference Finals is like the moon landing of NBA conspiracy theories, where it's like, if you're unfamiliar with that one, you're barely a basketball fan, you know? My favorite, like, kind of slept on one, obviously that Cooper Flag thing kind of like drums up feelings about it. But how about Chicago getting Derrick Rose? Like, that's always such an interesting one to me. Like, I think they had a less than 3% chance of moving up even into the top 3. And then they like jumped to 1.
They were like the last. They were 14, and they like jumped up to 1.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Or Kyrie going to the Cavs the year after LeBron leaves is always weird to me. I really like. There's nothing anyone can say to me to convince me the Dallas Mavericks thing is not rigged.
That's crazy.
And I don't even believe it. It's just more that, like, it's so much more fun to believe it. You know what I mean? Like, just believe it, man.
Yeah.
Like, be a fan. I like wrestling a little bit. You know, I grew up watching wrestling, so I have an appreciation for, like, some of this stuff being fake is fun to me, you know? So I think that, like, I mean, in terms of King's conspiracy theories, I mean, is it even a conspiracy theory that, like, there's a secret, let's just say a Wizard of Oz type figure that kind of controls everything the Kings do, whether or not. And the Wizard of Oz in this situation is a 5'3" billionaire. And he's not behind a curtain. He's doing TikToks, but
Hey, do it. He's courtside.
yes, he's not behind a curtain. He's sitting courtside in an embarrassing t-shirt.
They not like us.
Yeah, he's embarrassing us publicly. But yeah, I mean, that's
Calling
not
a
even
4x5.
What's funny is I think the conspiracy theorists at this point are the Kings fans who have, like, no willingness to acknowledge Vivek's role in the opera. And by the way,
Yeah, that's good.
he hired Monty McNair. He, like, he's done some stuff. I don't love everything he's done. I don't like most of what he's done, but he has, like, some victories to point to. But yeah, I still get in spats on Twitter. No one can find me on Twitter. I'm completely incognito on there, but I'm still in the fucking the replies sometimes, dude, going at it with people where I'm like,
Got the burner?
you know, you brought up the 4-on-5 earlier. I'm like, how anyone can be like, Vivek's not in charge. I'm like, they literally did a 4-on-5. Do you think if he didn't have, like, a gun to people's heads that would have ever happened in a professional basketball game? That is the most proof positive thing, that he holds all the cards. You know what I mean? That's wild. Any coach would be like, no, if I have final say on this, we're not doing that even for one play. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, they tried that in the G League. The Reno Bighorns tried it, right?
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. They did
did.
it in a game, and of course it worked exactly how everyone thought it would work.
Yeah.
It's like, remember that play the Indianapolis Colts did a couple years ago where they just, like, punted with one guy in front? That was the basketball equivalent of that.
Or just like the Dallas Cowboys, they had, like, Ezekiel Elliott, like, hike the ball and him play center. And it's like, yeah, exactly how it, like, was drawn up.
Yeah, the reason no one tried that before is because nobody thought that was a good idea before, you know?
And then there was, like, Nick Bosa, like, on the other end, and it's just like, just pummels over.
Him.
Yeah, it's just pummels Zeke. And I'm like, yep, that sounds exactly like the Dallas Cowboys.
Exactly how we thought it would, huh?
He's still our owner. I love
Yeah.
it.
Anyway,
Love it.
I don't know if that's so much a conspiracy theory, but
No, those were great. Those.
I also have a conspiracy that we'll never get a top 3 pick again.
Never.
Hey,
No,
see,
we don't blame it.
With the way, like, the lottery is done now, I just do it in front of everyone. Why do I need cards?
why do they need to
Why do I need cards?
let everyone watch?
If it's so above board, why are you guys doing it behind a curtain? And then they also, sorry, now I'm just talking directly.
Please.
Then they try to take advantage of you and tell you that there's, like, a Wall Street firm that audits this thing. It's like, I'm supposed to trust Wall Street all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Like, what did they do in 2008? You know what I mean? Like, the Kings
they're so stable.
The Kings were missing the playoffs. They were tanking the economy. You know what I mean? So I just don't believe it, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, we would probably get more jumped ahead of the lottery more than being in the top 3. That's just how the lottery goes for us.
Yeah.
right?
Golden One sponsor the lottery.
Yeah, they sponsor.
That's
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean.
They're
I don't
like,
know if
hey,
you guys heard what just came out, but Shaq on either on his podcast or on a podcast that he was on, he said that David Stern asked him,
Oh, yeah.
do you prefer hot weather or cold weather before getting drafted? And he said hot. Ended up in Orlando.
yeah.
Hey,
Hey, and then you
But it's like, why is Cleveland getting all the small market love, when they got Wiggins and the back-to-back #1 picks, and Sacramento just hasn't gotten any? And we got Marvin Bagley. Come on.
I think that if I'm hypothesizing here, Cleveland, in the same way Golden State is now, like once Steph goes, what is the Warriors? Like they are mid-market. They're not like Cleveland's not like a small city. It's kind of a big city in the Midwest. I guess maybe they're small market. But I think that the idea is like we can't just have a star player leave this town. If you're looking at the Mavericks, like think about it in the same context where it's like this market won't survive a vacuum right now. So we have to give them something to keep watching for, or every single fan in this town is not going to watch this product next year. So I think that that's what it comes down to is like getting Wiggins was like, trading Wiggins for Love kind of like cooked them. God, I'm getting so mixed up here. When LeBron left and then came back and they traded Wiggins, how did they get that pick? Was that their first overall?
That was their first overall.
That was their first
because
overall.
Wiggins was on the summer league team for the Cavs. And
That's right. That's right.
But it was the year after they got Anthony Bennett.
Yeah, the year after they got
Bennett.
Because they were like, oh, Anthony Bennett's a bust. We'll give you another one so that way they can
right.
and get Kevin Love.
There you go.
Works out.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, anyway, I think that that's like I really like the NBA is just so riggable. How could you not rig?
Oh yeah.
Like if I was the commissioner, I'd be rigging everything.
And then you hear all the comments about like being like, oh, the viewership is down. Let's do this so that way we can get viewers up. And you trade like a global superstar to like the biggest market in all of basketball. And then you give them the team that traded away their global superstar, the #1 pick, like another generational product, that's replenish and repeat.
Yeah.
After another big ass market.
After the mafia burns down their business, they buy you a new one. You know what I mean? Exactly. Like once they collect the insurance money, they get you off and going again, dude. Yeah, it's just how it works.
It's just like a quota.
Yep. All we know is that Adam is probably so happy with the results. Dude, he's thrilled right now.
Because he developed, he made the results happen.
Is there a moment, though, where he's like, oh, fuck. He's like, God, it's going to be Dallas. Dude, they are going to say I rigged this thing pretty hard.
No, that has to be his first thought.
Once Charlotte got pulled fourth, I'm like, okay, they want Embiid out of the second round, or they want Wemby to have another superstar, or, I'm like immediately cooking up conspiracy.
I'm thinking that the same thing, too, but I'm also, like what you just said, like, right when he's like, I'm never going to beat the allegations. Like, that's probably like the first thing he thinks. He's like, there's no way. Like, it's like, but then after, the dust settles, he's probably just
good for business.
Kicking back.
He's not looking forward to his next game in Dallas. Or I mean in LA. You know what I mean? Like the fans are going to let him hear it about it or wherever. Like the popular places they're going to crush him in the stands, I think.
No, for sure. Yeah. Hey, those were great answers.
Basketball fans.
I think the NBA is, you could probably go down the line, but the conspiracies are there. They're there. And
I agree.
I'm glad that we're all on the same page about that.
Definitely.
There's so many, man.
I could have went crazy. I could have been like Enes Kanter was blackballed.
He says he is. He claims
he's a looney.
He claims
dude.
Or like Nico Harrison's like an industry plant.
Yeah, right. There you go. That's a good one. Yeah, Nico Harrison.
I feel like that's a great conspiracy theory is that he's the biggest like industry plant in all of sports.
Yeah, he's a former Nike exec, right?
Yeah,
something like that.
He's coming from the business. Him and Rob Pelinka both, dude.
Oh,
Rob Pelinka coming from the
Dallas
business
is just filled with conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Speaking on the topic of Dallas, I remember this must have been 2 years ago. I was listening to the Royally Stupid podcast. I believe Drew Absher said that he was predicting how the season was going to go, and he was saying, I just really don't feel like Dallas got it this year. Like I think they're just going to, I don't know if he said they're not going to make the playoffs. Somehow, some way, they end up getting to the finals. I know. So my question for you is, you and the local guy, Drew started a podcast called the Royally Stupid Podcast. You only came out with 6 episodes. Why did it stop?
It was a pain in the ass. Like I'm not good at the grind side of this. You know what I mean? I would never think to put stuff up on the walls behind me. You know what I mean? Like my brain is just not. I'm good at like okay, here's the idea, and then I need a plethora of people around me to get it done. I cannot do it. So I think that me and Drew was also living in Natomas at the time, so him getting to me was a long trip. I would bring it back for sure. I love talking basketball with Drew. He's awesome to talk to, and he's so knowledgeable. So like, the idea behind it was like, I'll be the dipshit on the show, and then you be the guy who actually like breaks down plays and stuff. And I think that format would work nicely. But yeah, it was hard to get the timing, dude. I like, you guys probably feel it. Like, as we're trying to schedule this, I'm like, we're gonna do 6 o'clock on a Monday. Like, who's free at 6 o'clock on a Monday? You know, everyone's like eating dinner, trying to be with their significant others or whatever. So it can be tough to schedule stuff. That's why every podcast I've ever done. I used to do a really fun podcast that I'm thinking about bringing back. How much time have we done? Am I just rambling?
No, keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
You're in great time.
I used to do it. It was called Sports Ball. It was like a trivia show, but the questions were like less like like who was the home run leader in 2011 in the MLB, and it was more like one of the games was it was called offensive pass interference. And it was, I would like come up with a crime, like getting arrested for weed or DUI or like domestic violence, and then like I would name players, and the contestants would have to tell me whether or not they'd been arrested for that crime.
Oh my god.
So like stuff like that was like kind of the theme of the game, or like we would just do like a ton of like different like I would give you two players, and you have to tell me which one has more kids, like just kind of like basketball and sports adjacent questions. Like you could be, or it'd be like what movie did this athlete appear in? Those kinds of like questions.
Dude, I love that.
More adjacent stuff.
That's actually what because we're hosting a Sacramento Kings trivia night on Wednesday, 2 days from now, and a lot of our questions are like actual Kings trivia questions, but then a lot of the other ones that we came up with are like more fun questions like that. And we're going to be doing this like on a monthly basis, and then we're just going to do like I love that style of trivia, because it's like that's like the real ball knowers, is if you know what these guys are doing off the court too.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, like if you remember Eric Musselman got a DUI. Like,
that's got to be a trivia question.
You're sick.
That's or him being shirtless when Arkansas was on Arkansas. And moved on to the Sweet 16. So those are the Musselman era was just
we've had a lot of interesting eras.
Yeah, we had a lot of Musselman I feel like was the most interesting one, because he came from UNR. And then we were like, oh dang, this guy's from UNR. This guy's gonna be our head coach. He's gonna keep it. And then it just all fell apart from there.
And then he ended up being the Bighorns coach for a little bit.
Yeah, he was Bighorns.
Back to Reno.
Yeah, and then he did Arkansas, and then now he's at USC.
Good for him.
He's still coaching? I didn't know.
Yeah, he's at USC now.
He's good for him.
Wow. On the topic of weird eras, what is I love Mount Rushmore type questions. What is your Mount Rushmore of your least favorite Sacramento Kings players?
Oh man, least favorite players.
Dang.
You guys could chime in too. I want to hear it from
recency
everyone.
bias is going to be a motherfucker here, because there's a lot of guys on my shit list right now. There's a lot of guys. I could probably do 4 of the starting 5 right now. I think, truth be told, Buddy Hield falls somewhere on that top 4.
I agree. That's on my list too.
And it's actually sad for me to say, because like as soon as he got traded to the Pacers, I would have like loved to have said that. But since I've gotten to watch him play for the past couple years, he is one of those guys that if he's not on your squad, if he's not employed by your favorite basketball team, Buddy Hield is one of the most fun guys to watch in the league. Because he's either making an insanely like fast release 3 that like is Steph's passing out of a double team or something, he drains it, or like in that elimination game to the Wolves. I don't know if you guys watched all the way to the whistle. Dude, he got like a backcourt violation because he was jogging up the court in an elimination game. Yeah. I love it. I love a guy who like has no read of the moment. You know what I mean? Like Draymond is passing it to him, and Draymond accidentally commits a backcourt violation because Buddy Hield is like slow jogging up court. I love it. Stuff like that makes me laugh now. But when it's on your team and happening, you're like, the Jimmy Butler Buddy stop dribbling. I'm like, he's reading my tweets. Jimmy Butler's reading my tweets.
He's been watching a lot of Sacramento Kings basketball since like 20 throughout like the time that Buddy was there. He was like, I know exactly what player you are, and I'm gonna tell you to stop now.
It's so funny that Jimmy has like the same, like he thinks like how the fans do.
Yeah,
it's like he could not relate to a Kings fan more than what he said to Buddy.
God.
Yeah, totally. Other ones I don't I didn't like. God, I had someone in mind. Shit, I didn't like the Costa Kufis era. I know it's a hot take.
That's a
bold take.
No, I'm willing to open my ears to that.
It like every time I saw Costa Kufis, it was a reminder of where we were at as a basketball team. Yes. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like there are so many guys. Same thing with like Chuck Hayes is another guy who comes. It's like nothing against Chuck Hayes. It's just like watching him play basketball for my favorite basketball team is like, no, how did we get here? You know what I mean? Someone else popped into head like a mid-season acquisition that just didn't pan out. Oh, Marco Bellinelli. I like have a weird disdain for. Jason Terry's an obvious answer, but like doesn't really count. Does everyone remember that?
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
We got
like
the Jet for a short period of time.
Yeah, Kings fans hate the Jet.
Like I didn't really enjoy George Hill, Rajon Rondo. Kind of
George Hill was interesting.
Yeah, George Hill was very interesting.
Yeah,
kind of like
because didn't he? We had him when Fox was there.
We had him for half.
We had him for half a season, and then we traded him away because we were like, "Hey, De'Aaron Fox is good.
Yeah.
We're gonna give him the keys."
That's crazy to think George Hill was starting over De'Aaron Fox.
That's what I'm saying. That's for that reason alone.
I mean, is it that crazy when you remember who was starting over Keegan Murray? Wasn't it KZ Okpala getting minutes over Keegan at the start of the
preseason?
Yeah. Or it was
no, dude, that was regular season.
Was it?
He was starting KZ Okpala.
KZ Okpala because like I think Keegan was like had like a little minor injury
because Keegan missed the first game.
Yeah,
KZ
with like an
stepped in.
ankle.
Yeah. He had a minor injury,
but then KZ held it for a while.
Yeah, and then he held it down. Like
I was
a Davis guy.
I was a KZ believer for a minute.
He looked solid.
I was too.
I think he was on Team Nigeria where Mike Brown was coaching or something like that. So I was like, oh, Mike Brown like knows how to unlock this guy. Like that's what I was convinced.
He was solid in the preseason.
He was good.
Too.
It was good for like the first 15 games, and then he was like, "Hey, all right, see you later."
It had glimpses.
This right here is Kings fandom in a nutshell.
It is.
KZ Okpala was almost a guy for it.
almost. He was like Keon Ellis, but like 4 inches taller.
We could have fixed him.
Yeah. Yes.
We were literally just having this conversation with Deuce and Mo, and Deuce was like, "I really thought Kyle Guy would have been a great option." Like these type of conversations is what it really means to be a Kings fan.
And then we talked. And they were like, the whole thing was like, why is Tyrese Halliburton not getting minutes? And I was like, dude, we had literally had the same conversation like in our group chats, like when the season was Tyrese's rookie year, and we were like, oh, why was he not getting minutes? And then like a year later, we trade him away. And now
we're watching Bagley's rookie year, his career high against Phoenix. This guy's going to be the next Anthony Davis. I was saying that. I said that season.
Word for word.
Dude, I mean, I was just like, dude, he has the potential. Every time he gets the ball, he scores it, and then. Yeah, we saw that he just can't get anyone involved. But I was a believer that first season. Towards the end of the season.
You want me to give you guys a late in the pod hot take here?
Yeah.
I've been trying to spread this. The Kings get too much, and the Suns don't get enough flack for that draft.
Yep. For DeAndre Ayton, yeah.
Everyone acts like everyone watched Marvin Bagley in college and was like, that guy's never going to be anything.
Yeah.
Like when Marvin Bagley was coming out of Duke, it was like, that guy's going to be a perennial all-star.
It was a historic freshman season.
It did not make sense to like everyone's acting like it was like Luka or you take like table scraps. But like Marvin Bagley was a legitimate conversation piece. And like if you disagree with that, then why is DeAndre Ayton taken in front of Luka? You know what I mean? Like then you have to explain why Phoenix was looking at DeAndre Ayton. I think Luka was kind of the last player that's coming from Europe that people will underestimate. And I think that the Kings were like victim of that underestimation. And like, honestly, no one's going to like me saying this. If the Kings had drafted Luka and he had been a bust, like think about what that would have done mentally to the franchise. Do you know what I mean? Like if it was the other way around, you take the fucking shiny Euro player with the GM who's never done anything. And like he's like jaded towards Euro players, and this guy ends up sucking dick. And then you have this like superstar power forward long wing player who's just a bucket getter. Like we would be talking about the Kings as if they're the dumbest franchise of all time. And now we're going like now they have a missed opportunity, which that shit happens in drafts.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm if Phoenix doesn't get more shit, then Kings shouldn't get as much as they get.
No, that's a good point.
It's a good one. It's a good point. You don't. It's interesting because it all depends on like the player and the fit where they go. Because it's crazy for me to say this too, but I feel like Luka's career would not be the same if he was on the Kings.
No, it really wouldn't.
And it really wouldn't. And it's like it's justifiable to be like, hey, we passed on him because it's like Vlade was not the biggest fan of Luka. We've seen it last season when like Luka was talking to Vlade saying you should have drafted him. And, he had that little vendetta. But I don't think his career would have been the same if he was on a Kings uniform because why?
Yeah, no chance. I mean, like we would have, and that's kind of the double-edged sword of it all. It's like I almost don't root for good players to come here because I'm like, don't waste your time here, dude.
Dirk is a rookie mentor to him. Like,
yeah.
Well, he had free reign when he went to Dallas to just do whatever he wanted.
Yeah, but
right.
We were still developing Fox and had other pieces.
Yeah, but dude, Dallas like traded Dennis Smith Jr. with a quickness. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we would not have done some
shit like that. They dropped him in a year.
Never.
We would have been like Dennis Smith Jr. is going to be the next best thing, and then we would have like given him $25 million or something.
We had
like
both.
we would have mishandled that.
Like with Fox and Luka, it would have been a situation with like the Fox and Halliburton thing. Like, we got to move one of them because once Luka,
totally.
if you ever became good, then you have to say, okay, do we get rid of Fox or get rid of Luka? It would have been the same situation.
Yeah, and we wouldn't have got KP. We would have got like late stage Mark Gasol with De'Aaron Fox or whatever. Whoever like whatever was available, we would have just totally fucked up. And that's kind of the peace of mind I get from being a Kings fan. Is even like with this draft, you're like, well, we didn't get that pick, but probably wasn't going to be a good pick anyway. I had no offense, Scott Perry, but like with all the turnover and everything, I can't imagine whoever we would have drafted would have just been like fit perfectly with the team, Anyway,
do you ever have like what gives you hope in this franchise?
That like public shame might be a work, like that we might be able to like just be mean enough to Vivek publicly. Look, I know people get tense about this stuff, but it's like you talk to anyone who kind of knows what's going on, and it's just all like, yeah, the Kings are kind of screwed until he like stops meddling, And it seems like the only way to get a billionaire to stop like meddling is to like just publicly shame. They don't like embarrassment. You know what I mean? They don't like being proven wrong. And so I think that Beam season, it was good, but it hopefully will work as like this. Do you see how much support you get when you stay away? I've heard that's kind of what was happening that season is Vivek was taking the hands off a little bit more. And that was why the vibes were a little bit better around the team. And it seems, I forget, someone said it publicly. I think it may have been Sam Amick. So I don't feel like I'm stepping out of bounds here, but that like Vivek comes from a tech background. So like he like pushes people way harder than people are expecting to be pushed in a basketball environment, and like puts people in stressful modes. And so that year when he like took the step back, like people were comfortable, and I think they played much differently. Like it seemed like they played with joy, and like I haven't seen that since that Warriors loss. You know what I mean? Like there's been moments where they like play carefree, and you see like the moments where Malik is having big games or whatever, or that Zach LaVine like 11 for 13 3-point flurry or whatever. But ultimately they just look
especially at the end of this season. Oh my god!
Yeah,
it looked like everyone.
It's not the same vibe.
The vibes are just totally gone. So I think that's what gives me faith is that like you don't need to be mean to Vivek if you see him, but like when they show him on the jumbotron, don't clap. You know what I mean? Like let's see how that works.
Just give him like a death. Just give him like just a normal stare.
Right? Yeah.
Or just don't react.
Yeah. Or just hold one thumb down like
or
this.
Just do this where it's like you have like a trending this way a little bit.
I think if you're still in the neutral ground on Vivek, come talk to me. DM me on Instagram.
Yeah. Right.
I'll convince
if you're
you
here,
immediately.
then like that's like the good spot to be.
Yeah. Right.
Because you're more.
Yeah.
If you're not thinking about Vivek, because if you think about Vivek, then it's like you think about the TikToks he does. Then,
yes.
At that point, then it's like all the way down here. But like if you're here, that's
5 o'clock.
Yeah, I say 5 o'clock. Yeah, that's the way.
5 o'clock, Vivek.
Well, I say like 5:30.
5:30. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Yes.
when the clock hits 6, that's like it's game over. For Vivek.
That's when we force him to sell.
Yeah, exactly.
We start planting made up stories about him in the local media. And
Yep,
see if
exactly.
see if we can throw a coup.
A little coup d'etat.
Oh my god, Drew, it was an honor.
Thanks, guys. This was awesome.
It was an honor to
Thanks
have
for
you
letting
on.
me come talk basketball.
I would continue this podcast for another 5 hours, but I
come
don't
back
want to keep you
whenever,
for too
dude.
long. But yeah, I think this podcast is an open invite. We gave the open invite to the local guy. Obviously it's for you as well. I think we might need to have a royally stupid Kang Gang Pod
I would do numbers.
There's not enough airtime, dude. Me and Drew will come in here and just fucking house you guys.
That's what I want.
Let's come yap.
During the
yap
during the
session.
season, we'll be
Yappuccino.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
If there's like a bad loss, like if it's like something that's like, yeah, you know what, this just needs to be like addressed, then it will be like a royally stupid Kang Gang Pod
That's
show.
what we need. That's what
That'd be
like-
fun. I'm down for that.
Let's do it.
Like any stupid loss that just seems like a Sacramento Kings loss, not just a Kings loss, a Kang's loss, where we call
Lose
it
to the Wizards.
Kang's like behavior. Then yeah, that's where we just come in and just be like, yeah, you know, I loved it when like Zach LaVine was just like walking up the court, just like causing like 2 8-second violations, like that type of stuff.
Yeah. Can I ask you guys one question before we get out of here?
Please.
One player you want and one player you think will not be on the Kings next roster.
Okay. I can
You
start.
Yeah.
I think, to me, I feel like DeRozan is gone.
Yeah.
And I think the right...
Hold on. Let's take DeRozan off because
Yeah,
he
yeah.
feels
Let's
as
go
good
off,
as
yeah.
gone to me.
Good is gone. One player, I think Trey Lyles is going to be gone.
Okay.
Took mine. I was gonna say.
Yeah, I think Trey Lyles is going to be gone. I just think that he's going to ask for a specific amount, and I think that we're not going to really have much salary cap room, you know, especially where we're trying to figure out what our bench is going to look like. He's going to ask for that Malik Monk type of money, and I just don't think we can provide that for him.
Yeah. But who do you want? though?
Wait.
Add one
Trey
that-
Lyles asking for
Well,
Malik Monk
not
type
like
money?
not like Malik, but it's like Malik Monk minus money. You know, where it's like
Malik Monk monopoly money.
no,
Trey's
it's like
going
like
to the
10
minimum
like 10 a
for sure.
year, like 10 a year.
I think Trey's gonna leave in free agency.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
He's
I-
probably going to ask for like
For another minimum
But
contract
I just
for
don't
another
see
team.
I
another
don't think it's-
team giving
no.
him that deal.
no, that's what I'm saying.
And I feel like that's why he would leave to maybe. But I mean, I
well,
I
he's
think
going
the
to
Kings
leave
are
to
ready
get
to
the
move
bag.
on.
Yeah,
I think the Kings are ready to move on.
I think so
is
too.
What I think. But I don't know. I don't know.
Wait, so who's a player you'd like to add?
To add in free agency.
Yeah, I mean free agency or trade. I mean we're gonna have to get something back for some of these trades.
That's
you
true.
know?
I think we definitely. I think Tyus Jones would be a really good fit for
Yeah.
us. I think Tyus Jones would be a really awesome point guard to have on our team, as somebody that can really control the pace of our offense. Because it's pretty clear that we need a point guard, and I think that Tyus Jones really fits the timeline of Sabonis and Levine as your two main guys, and that you can really just allow them to really be like a good pick and roll partner with Tyus Jones. You can allow Zach LaVine to be like your backcourt partner. I think Tyus Jones would be a really good fit. And also he's solid defensively.
Yeah.
He gets the job done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I was gonna say Trey as well. But I'll have to say Jake LaRavia won't be on the team for contract reasons.
Yeah.
I want him, but I don't think he'll be on the team because
It's gonna be
another
hard to
team's gonna
re-sign
pay
him, right? With all the
Yeah,
cap stuff.
yeah. So that'll be my answer for on the way out. For a player that I really like, I'm probably gonna have to go Malcolm Brogdon. And the reason is he has good chemistry with Sabonis on the Pacers. He's a proven floor general. He's not someone that's going to come in, step on anyone's toes. If we can absorb Malcolm Brogdon, who's still, I believe, around 30 years old, so it's not like he's ancient. If we can absorb him in the mid-level exception or even less and take him for a pay cut, I think that'd be a solid starting point guard for us and still give us money to spend going forward. So I'm going to say Malcolm Brogdon.
Those are great answers, boys. I'm going to follow up with, I know you guys are going the point guard route. I'm going to go the power forward route.
Okay.
Because I really want Keegan to step into the 3. I think that would do wonders for our team. And I think if we could bring in like Robert Williams,
Yeah, I like that.
I think that, I mean, I'll do a little duo. We can maybe finagle our way with Portland, get a little Matisse Thybulle and Robert Williams. I know they're both semi-injury prone players, but they're defensive guys. And then someone who I think that will not be on the team, that's not Trey, not DeRozan, and not LaRavia. Ooh. I might have to say, no, God. I'm trying not to pick anyone from the starters because that would just break my heart.
Okay, well let me say though.
Say it.
Feels like we have like 6 starters, right?
I know.
Yep.
Like it kind of feels like we have 6 starters. So it feels like DeRozan could easily be gone. And if you're trading DeRozan for something, you hope it's a starting caliber player.
Right.
Yeah.
So you feel like
You're
another
getting
person's
another
gotta
starter,
go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys see a world where DeRozan and Levine leave? I don't. I think Levine's there. I think Keegan's there. I think Monk is there. I think Keon is there. I think Sabonis is there. I might have to take the easy way out. I don't think Markel Fultz will be with the Kings.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a fair point, dude. He might
No
miss,
fucking way.
he might miss the
We're rioting.
You know he's a big fan, dude. Don't say stuff like that.
I know.
Markel, we know you're
Markel.
watching, dude. We didn't mean that.
And hey, we really hope Doug McDermott stays as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
Dougie
dude.
Buckets, dude.
Yeah.
We need him.
I think Monk is out. That's my guess.
Wow.
That's my
Yeah,
I just
don't
don't.
want to allude to it, but man, like
It feels
his
like-
contract is so valuable.
that's what I
for
think
he's-
too. I don't
he's our
want him
biggest
to go,
asset.
but-
Well, and you also just got to Sabonis has the kind of reason to stay. You know what I mean? He's came in late to the party, then the party all fell around him, and now he's the last kind of guy standing. So, and he also feels like a more you could build around him. You know what I mean? There's not much building to do around Malik Monk, and he's a sixth man. You know what I mean? He is if you're a championship team and you have Malik Monk coming off the bench, you're would Denver not love to have Malik Monk right now? You know what I mean? A team
Everyone
around the
loves that,
league would love to. If he's gonna come off the bench in Sacramento, why wouldn't he just be trade me to the fucking Knicks?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that'd pivot to a full rebuild. I think if we got rid of Monk personally, because I don't think we become a better team from trading Malik Monk. I don't think we get better assets in return. I think it's going to be picks. Or,
I think you're right
you know what I
about
mean?
that, and it's wishful thinking then because I think that's probably the right route.
I think if Monk goes, then I think then we would clear the whole house.
No one's safe.
Yeah, I think then Sabonis would be. I think the first pillar to move would be Sabonis if they decide to go that route. But I don't know if they're.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
with the
it's not gonna
contracts,
happen this
with the
summer.
contracts, with the contracts that Sabonis is making and Levine's making, it's hard. It's really hard to move those guys right now because what's their marketability, right? We don't know that. If they have a really incredible season next year, then it's dang, these guys made the playoffs and then did really well. They could be a good third option for a championship team. Why not just give them future assets if it's the Kings have it? So it's hey, it's almost kind of you have to bank on players to do really well when they're towards their contract year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whatever Scott Perry's first move is post draft, in the offseason, as far as trades or free agency, is going to be a telltale sign on what direction he's going to go. If he comes out swinging with a fucking DeRozan trade or a DeRozan and you know what I mean? But we don't know who he is as a GM and how aggressive he's going to be. Really, it's
true.
This offseason is going to be. There's a lot of question marks going into this offseason, I think.
Drew, who do you think, or what do you think? What's one trade scenario that you would want to see in the offseason?
I mean, I'll stick on the Malik Monk thing. Could we pry one of those big point guards from Orlando? I like Anthony Black a lot. I don't even know value wise if that's a straight across type trade or if I'm so bad with trades because I just like guys like Anthony Black. I'm I want that guy on my team.
No, he's a clear cut
Yeah. I would just, and it feels pretty congested with what they have
They're
going
hard
on.
heavy.
Yeah. And they need shooting, so they don't need a guy like Anthony Black still needs to develop as a shooter, but he's just big as shit. And I think that's where, if I'm the Kings, I'm again, I know that he was a piece in a big trade, but Dyson Daniels, I'm looking at that guy going if I ever want to be something, I need guys on my team like that. And I think that they were close with Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons starts to fit the mold. I know Monty couldn't get it done, but I would like a guy. I would just like a guard. He doesn't even need to be a great ball handler. I think Keon would be able to man the duties if we got in a big two guard or something, but they just need size, dude. They just need length and size so bad. I'll take anything.
I have one.
We've been saying that for ever since the Beam Team era, where it was,
wings.
yeah, just
Athletic.
wings,
Yeah.
physical dudes.
Who's your dream? The question will be, who's your dream acquisition? And I have one, and it's a dream because it'll never happen. But man, if we got Trey Murphy,
Yeah, Trey Murphy or Herb Jones.
Herb
both
Jones,
guys.
yeah. Herb Jones would be
Would
so
love
good
him.
for us.
Would
give
love
me
him.
both.
Give me
That would
both.
change
Why
our
not
team.
both? Give me
Yeah.
Zion too.
Yeah.
Monk straight across
If
all
the
three.
Kings do a Zion trade, Trey Murphy's got to be in the deal, or else I'm out.
Yeah. I'm not even listening. I'm hanging up.
Yeah.
Hang up the phone.
Trey Murphy's got to be a part of that.
Yeah. Dude, I gotta pee so bad.
Thank you for coming on. We love you.
So much fun, bro.
This is awesome.
Thank you, man.
Oh, they
there we go.
reached. They reached.
There you go.
All right.
I got wingspan.